Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of November 21st. I forgot. We're going to just jump right in here, Virgo, and we're going to take a look at your past position in this first row. It says Bobcat on that Bobcat card, and it says life is a mystery. So I do feel like there are some mysteries that you are looking into. You know, this is going to sound weird, Virgo, but I just moved to a top secret bunker location somewhere in the United States, right? And where I live in the woods, basically, and there are a bunch of bobcats. But you know what's interesting is there's also a bunch of city people that have moved out here to the middle of the woods, right? And it's kind of funny because I have a Ring camera, like a security camera, and I always get these Ring alerts from like my neighbors and stuff like that, or everyone that lives in the area. And what keeps happening is bobcats keep showing up on the cameras, and all these people that didn't grow up in the woods like I did are all worried about the bobcats, which pretty much just won't do anything to you, right? They'll pretty much run away unless they have rabies or something like that. So it's kind of funny that it's popping into my head that for some of you, you know, it's like maybe there are some mysteries that you could be afraid of, but it might just be like a lack of information, right? And I kind of feel that here, where there's something in your life where the only reason maybe there's some fear there, and again, I'm not calling you out or, anything like that, but what I would say is I feel like a lack of information could be getting in the way of something that you want. So what I think your solution here, by the way, if that is true for you, I feel like the solution is information or learning as much as you can. I think when we learn about what we're afraid of, then, we can easily overcome whatever the challenge is. You have the Nine of Swords, the Page of Swords, and the Four of Wands. Again, Page of Swords is a card of learning. He is like the true detective in the tarot as far as I'm concerned. He really looks into situations. He really likes to learn about things as well. So I feel like learning about whatever it is that you're dealing with would be very beneficial. I also feel, again, you have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is like having a nightmare, waking up and being stuck in a nightmare. So it's kind of an energy of needing to get out of your head. To me, it's also a card that says you can be the bug or the windshield. There's a person right here hitting another person with a sword on the bed. And I always say it's kind of like, with the Nine of Swords, we can choose. We can be, again, the bug or the windshield. We can be the person who's hitting the other person with the sword, or the one on our back getting hit, right? So that's what I get there. You have this Four of Wands. Four of Wands, of course, is a card of marriage. I feel there's like a little bit of love here. If you want it, I feel like it's available to you. But really, I feel like this is a card of freedom. And sometimes I actually think that we are afraid to be free, right? And by the way, this card says is 1111. And look at this right here. Are you kidding me? It is 1111 right there. So definitely freedom. 1111 clearly could be a very important number for you right now. But what I would say is sometimes I think we are afraid of freedom. It's like if you want to start a business, for example, a business can provide a lot of freedom, but it's also a little bit scary because it's like you're responsible for working. You're responsible for making your own money and maybe paying employees and all this other stuff. Freedom, scary. Right? So I feel that kind of energy here. And again, I feel like education and listening would be the best thing for you. That bobcat spirit, bobcats have like big ruffles around their neck. It helps them listen. And so I feel that for you, where it's kind of like listening or just learning through listening or whatever could be very, very good for you at this time in all areas of your life. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Nine of Wands. See, something has to be exposed here. It's kind of funny because I just said to Pisces is your opposite sign. If you have Pisces in your chart, I would definitely go watch that reading. But I said to Pisces that we're entering into this time of Aquarius, and I believe that the risk that we can all take right now is the risk of exposure, the risk of being wrong, right? If you do something, like if you're working on new projects or new businesses, or if you want to ask a person out, right? That's a big risk of being wrong. It's like, but if we take those risks, that's where we're being rewarded right now, is by taking that type of risk, if that makes sense. So don't be afraid to expose yourself is like the name of the game right now, especially right now. With the Page of Swords, you have the Temperance card. Temperance is about like turning one thing into another. So you could be turning like one situation into a better situation. It's kind of funny as well because like 4 people have had this card this week already. So it could be one of those weeks. Sometimes I feel with Temperance that it's kind of about like reworking a situation. It's a card of alchemy, turning one thing into another. But I feel like for some of you, it's almost like you're polishing something up. It's almost as if you're adding like some layers of paint to something, but in a good way. You're making something better in your life. So if you are working on any new projects, I feel like kind of going the extra mile would be a good idea. If you have a business, I think right now is a great time to over deliver as well. So, there's a whole belief in business, under promise, over deliver. I think that would be great. It'll probably just lead to like a lot of attention or, maybe some kind words or whatever. Same thing in love as well. It's like, again, under promise, over deliver. I would say, I feel like I've been getting a message for you recently as well of like making sure that you're not giving too much. So again, I would make sure you're kind of doing things in balance. I would also be patient. With the 4 of Wands, you have the 3 of Wands. I would be patient. Again, some of you might be meeting a person and you're like, I'm going to marry this person right now. And I feel like the 3 of Wands is saying, well, it's like, hold your horses. It's like, sure, yes, you'll probably marry this person, 4 of Wands, but also I wouldn't rush. I think it's kind of funny because I feel like you're ready for something. And maybe some of you could be dealing with a person who isn't ready with the Fool just yet. I feel like they will be ready. So I'm definitely popping into my head for someone. I would take your time. I wouldn't rush. 3 of Wands, also card of travel. I pretty much feel it's impossible to be alive until 2033 or something like that. It's impossible for pretty much almost everyone to not be doing some sort of traveling or moving between now and then. I see, to me, the astrology until 2033, I think there's going to be a great migration. Not literally. I just think that there's going to be a lot of moving around. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you are saying, no, I'm not going to move, but you actually do over the next decade or so. So, definitely something to think about. Next, you have this last quarter moon in Libra. It says, make time for self-love. Yeah, I kind of feel like this is, but I also am getting something different here, Virgo. Did I say Libra? For some reason, I feel like I've been saying Libra. Some of you might be dealing with Libra, but Virgo, I feel like this is talking about kind of making yourself the center of attention. And again, we're not doing this in a greedy way. We're not doing this in a bad way, but I feel there's something here about your mental point of origin. It's like we all kind of live our life and we all have these ideas of what our life should be and all this other stuff, right? For whatever reason is popping into my head, that'd be super important for you to make sure that you're not allowing other people to steer you in a different direction. I think we all do this. Sometimes we get into a relationship, right? And maybe we let the person convince us to change our ideas of what we should be doing with our life or whatever. I feel like this is saying right now, it's important to really focus on what you want. And that's kind of what I'm getting here is I feel your focus is much more important than someone else's focus, if that makes sense. You have the 8 of Wands, the King of Cups, and the Fool. Some of you, I feel, could be attracting a water sign here. It could be any sign. You also have fire. You've been getting fire a lot with me over the past few years, but it could be any sign. I feel this is talking about your emotions, right? He is very stable emotionally. He is sitting in very deep water, but he's perfectly fine. He isn't worried. There are choppy waters around him. So if there are things going on in the world, which I think there's going to be a lot going on in the world as we move forward over the next decade or so as well, as long as you maintain your emotional stability, I think you'll be fine. So I would make sure that you're focusing on things that you want. I'm also getting that, again, it's crazy because I'm doing past, present, future this week because that's what I felt like doing. But for you, I feel like your reading is literally talking about the next 10 years, literally. I feel this reading is saying that if you focus on your emotions, things that make you happy, things that make you feel positive emotionally, right? And I think if you focus on building something, could be anything, right? I feel like you're going to find a lot of success, but not only success, but total fulfillment as well. The King of Cups, he is totally fulfilled when he is at his happiest. So if you're building something new or, in business, but it could also be building a family, building or leaving a legacy, whatever you want to call it. I feel if you're doing that, you're just going to feel extra, just a little extra special, right? Let's put it that way. You have the 8 of Wands here, a lot of talking, a lot of movement. I get buzzing, a ton of buzzing energy on this card for whatever reason. I feel like there's just this kind of going back and forth type of thing in a flurry of communication. So some of you could be dealing with like a new connection, or there could be a new connection coming in for you. That's kind of the feeling I get. You know how you get into a new relationship, there's a lot of, back and forth, a lot of talking, a lot of, movement and stuff. So I definitely feel that could be coming in for some of you. I also feel that exploring new opportunities is going to be extremely beneficial for you. I mean, you're born in that part of the sky very close to Leo. And I say to Leo all the time that, basically everything you want is on the other side of something you've never done before. I feel like that is true for you as well. You're born right next to Leo, so your energy is kind of similar. And what I will say is that there's this boat on the back of the King of Cups. The boat on the King of Cups is actually very specific. It can represent like a time where we would get on boats and we didn't know where we were going. We would, our great, 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 great ancestors would get on boats and they didn't know if they were going to find land, right? They just would go. And so it can kind of represent stepping into uncharted territories, finding opportunities or embracing or exploring opportunities where you're not really sure like what's on the other side. Guess what? You also have the Fool. The Fool is about to take a leap of faith off a freaking cliff, right? He is just trusting that a step is going to appear. He is trusting that he is going to land on something. So I feel for some of you, this is all about trust. It's all about taking a risk. It's all about kind of embracing a new direction. And so it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you in like work or in business especially, the readings have been very financial this week, which is great. I think it looks positive as far as finances are concerned, but it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you were kind of taking a leap of faith in a new direction. You have, with the Eight of Wands, you have the Justice card here. It's funny that I was saying Libra, right? Didn't I say Libra? Think so. But could be a Libra that some of you are dealing with. For others, you could be kind of just balancing things out. I don't know. I feel this is kind of boring if I'm being honest with you, this card. I feel just like typical life stuff that you're working on, balancing out. So some of you could be kind of like doing paperwork or, boring stuff like that. I don't know. With the King of Cups, you have the Hierophant, marriage. I feel some of you, again, there's something here about like either a person who wants to rush right into marriage or it's you. I'm not sure who it is, but take it how it resonates. Could also be dealing with a Taurus. I'm pretty sure you've had a Taurus showing up for weeks. So for some of you, could be a Taurus. Again, I just wouldn't rush it. I think there's no need to rush. I think everything is working out perfectly fine. And I would just take your time here, mostly so that you can avoid disappointment. You have the Five of Cups in the future. That doesn't mean something will happen. I feel like this is saying don't let something happen. I would also say that there is an element of like spiritual guidance this week for pretty much everyone. I'm pretty sure everyone has had the Hierophant this week. And the Hierophant is like the bridge between the heavens and the earth. So he's very connected spiritually. And I feel for a lot of you, you could just be feeling very connected spiritually. And I would be, again, I would be like embracing that energy. With the Fool card, you have the Eight of Swords. Don't hold back. I'd say if any risks that you're wanting to take, I would definitely take them. Eight of Swords is like self-imposed restriction, holding yourself back, keeping yourself in prison for no reason. She could easily set herself free, but she just needs to do it. If she leaned up against those swords, she could cut her arms free, and then she could take her blindfold off, and she would see that she is free. She would see that there's nothing in front of her. She could just kind of walk. It also kind of represents shallow emotions because she's standing in a very shallow pool of water, and you have that King of Cups there. So I feel like it's saying, for some of you, maybe you have to explore your emotions about things, and that doesn't mean anything, really. Yes, I get that. Those are just words that mean nothing. But I feel like you have to kind of like explore your emotions. How do I feel about things? How can I feel? Can I change my emotions? Can I feel the way I want to feel about things? Or how can I do that, right? It's like sometimes I think we don't have money because maybe we deep down inside, maybe we feel negatively about money. Maybe deep down inside, we feel like everybody's going to cheat on us in relationships. Those deep emotions could be preventing you from having the things that you want. So if we explore those emotions and we say, hey, probably not true. And if we, even better, if you go find examples of how it's not true, then you can attract success. And, that's exactly what I would be doing here. Next, in your future position, you have this message in a bottle card. Again, I get like a flurry of communication, like I said, with that Eight of Wands. So a lot of you, there could be some very quick communicative type situations going on for you this week. I feel these are good things. There could be a flurry of communication because something is going well. I feel like saying the word, it hits. Something just hits for you, Virgo. I would say for those of you that like have a presentation if you're on YouTube or something like that. I feel like something is kind of hitting just right. It's like just what people need at this time. So if you're working on something, like whatever that means, if you're working on something, I feel there's a lot of success. You could also be like writing a book or something as well. It's like there's something about a presentation here for some of you. You have the Five of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. See, I immediately know what this is. This is being uncomfortable with a change here, Virgo. These two cards right here. So I feel that some of you, I'm just going to read these together because I feel like some of you need to get comfortable with a change. Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. The Five of Cups is a card of disappointments, but it really says, be grateful for what you have. You know, he's crying over spilt wine. He's lost his taste for something he once enjoyed. So it kind of also says, don't overdo something. You know, it kind of reminds me, I always tell the story, like when I was a kid, my mom was a hippie. She wouldn't let us eat junk food. I asked for Pringles for Christmas one year. I just told this story too. And I ate them like so quickly that I got sick, right? And I can't even say the word Pringles without feeling sick now because I overdid it, right? Five of Cups says, do not overdo things because you will lose your taste for them, whatever they are. Could be love, could be in business, whatever. But I feel there's a need for balance. Five of Pentacles, again, says only use words of strength. And you have this King of Wands. King of Wands is very bold, assertive. He really goes for what he wants. And there's something here about building as well. To me, he's like the true builder of the tarot. He is willing to build something because he nurtures it into existence. So it's like if he's building a business, for example, I always say that he treats things like a baby, you know? So he really takes good care of the things that he cares about, relationships, businesses, and otherwise. And I feel as long as you embrace that energy, you're going to be very successful at this time. Also could be new love coming in for you here, but let's see. With the Five of Cups, you have the King of Pentacles, three kings, pretty crazy. King of Pentacles could also be a Taurus again, but King of Pentacles is a card if that wants to focus of stability, of better finances, good things coming in. Like I said, I do feel that there could be a lot of like positive financial change for you here. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Tower. Get out of your head, number one. Number two, I feel like this could be, we might have to get more details on this Tower moment. But again, Tower can represent something being the same for too long. And so some of you could be, you know, to me, it's a wake-up call. The Tower, to me, it is seeing reality. It also wouldn't surprise me if these were just global Tower moments. I've been talking about this forever. We've had a bunch of global Tower moments recently. So, you know, there you go. With the King of Wands, you have the Four of Cups. Four of Cups is a card of needing to kind of mix things together. And we kind of talked about this with the Temperance card. You know, I always say Four of Cups is like you're trying to manifest a cake and he's disappointed because he has manifested the flour, the sugar, the eggs. But if you just mix it all together and put it in the oven, he would have a cake. So don't be afraid to mix things together. I want to clarify that Tower as well. And you have the Nine of Pentacles. So Nine of Pentacles is about being independent. Also a really good card, so I wouldn't even worry about the Tower. I would watch your finances. Like, I wouldn't go crazy, but Mars retrograde, even though Mars retrograde doesn't necessarily affect finances, you never know. Something could, affect yours, so I just wouldn't go crazy with the spending. We're also going to pull 5 main themes now here. So you have this Rat card. It says someone is working against you behind your back, Mars retrograde. I mean, literally every single person I've read for has had something like this. And again, in Gemini. So I would avoid gossip. I just wouldn't even deal with it. Like I wouldn't acknowledge it. Nothing, right? The best thing we can do during Mars retrograde, if people are gossiping, talking behind our back, or hating, is nothing. Literally. So wouldn't even deal with it. Obviously, you can cut people out as well. That's fine. You have this Firecracker card. It says excitement. So again, there could be a very exciting opportunity coming in for you. What is this here? Heart. It says love, deep affection, and caring. So clearly, there could be surprise love coming in for you. Could be a Scorpio as well. So I'm wondering if that Tower is really just a surprise. The Tower doesn't have to be bad. It can represent like a pleasant surprise or something we don't expect. Next, you have this Throne card. It says position of authority. I feel if people aren't already looking up to you, they will be in the near future. It's going to be based off of what I was saying in that present position, the middle row with that last quarter moon in Libra. I feel that making yourself your own mental point of origin where all your decisions are coming from yourself and you're making decisions based off your heart. Not what everybody else wants you to do, not what the news tells you to do, but what you tell you to do. If you're doing that, I feel like you're going to be in a position of authority, and, it's good. Next, you have the Scissors card. It says disappointment in some affair. I would be very careful of disappointments this week. Everybody I've read for today has also had something about disappointments, but every single reading has basically said like rework the disappointment. Temperance, right? I feel like you need to maybe if you have a disappointment like work or business, the Temperance card really says you can turn it around. Temperance is about taking a no, turning into a yes. You can also take a yes and turn it into a no, but it's about reworking something, and I definitely I get that for you here, Virgo. And finally, you have this mice card. It says discord among family and friends. You have the rat, you have the mice. I don't know. I would be careful of mice in your house or something, but I would also avoid, conflict with people who are just stirring things up just in general. And again, if it's family, maybe putting up some boundaries just for right now, just till we get past, all this energy would be a good idea. It's a pretty good reading here, Virgo. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.